going to be sharing about a workshop that I'm going to be doing consecutively this couple of weeks. I don't know when it's going to end, so I'm not giving exactly how many weeks. It's going to be about the topic that I've been sharing, which is how to tap into our inner brilliance. And this is connected to creatives, to upgrading the students. So people in college, people doing thesis, people about to make important decisions in their life. And for anybody that is feeling this creative urge of creating something, but they're feeling stuck or feeling like they need a little bit of a change in their lives. And every like the modalities that I do, they are for healing, and I am going to be doing another video that it's going to talk more about the healing process and how it connects with this. But overall, when we clear ourselves from any energetic clutter that we have, and sometimes it's inherited, sometimes it comes from another lifetime, and there's so many things that they were just birthed in there. We can be born with these from the womb, and from a lot of them from early childhood, and a lot of them we're not aware, like we picked up during our course of this life, that college, high school, in school, in our home. So there are a lot of things sometimes that can be getting in the way of us creating the life we want. And this doesn't have to be like a great entrepreneurship mission, but it can be like anything simple as just doing something that pleases you, that you love and that you feel really passionate about. And it can be anything. I believe everybody has something to contribute here, and this contribution is different and it looks different and doesn't have to be materialistically huge. It can be something simple, but we all have something to contribute in detecting what's below our urges, because sometimes below this anxiety that we have like all these patterns. But once we release them and we observe them, we also realize a lot of what's been behind our anxiety towards something. Sometimes it's like it can give us direction where we want to go, or sometimes it's giving us clarity why we're having anxiety going somewhere that we weren't really meant to go towards in the first place. So I think it's a very interesting thing when we do clearing and simplification of ourselves, and we also detect our belief systems and what is our belief system feeding in our life. Because sometimes by accident we might be feeding a really low self-esteem, and this may show up as a really high self-esteem, or it might show up like a really low self-esteem, or a dance of both. And we don't really actually get into like that good self-esteem. I feel like a lot of the times we're in a dance of high and low, high and low. And this happens probably in a lot of things in our life. We're just going in the high and the lows. And that's, in a way, I can't promise that we're not gonna have those, because I still have those highs and those lows. I think it's the practice of, ooh, I can be here in this grace, in this middle balanced section where everything kind of happens a lot more in flow, where a lot of things kind of come through in more ease, and we get to tap into our inner gut brains and our inner heart brains, and really start practicing to tap into those. And I think it's a thing of a practice that keeps growing as we start feeling it. Once we feel it once, we're like, oh, I I know how that feels. Okay, how do I go into that again and again and again? And then it's just a practice. And for everybody, how you tune into that, how you connect to that, it's very unique. So that's why there's no real teaching to step by step. And that's what I love about this is that for the first time, I get to really practice something that I do naturally without following steps. And what I mean with this is that in school and everything I did, I never followed steps. I went with something that I can't even put into words. It's just a feeling, but it also goes with visuals and it also goes with a little bit of logic, but it's not the logic that goes step one, step two is more like connecting the dots with this feeling. It's like this feeling is actually using my brain and giving me the visual of how that goes. So it's it's a really it's a really intimate thing that we have to feel. And a way that I can put it, because I had a conversation with a creative person that I really enjoyed having talks with him because he's really interesting. And he told me once, he's like, I know how to create something and it's like I already know how to do it because he was telling me how he knows how to build stuff. He's not an engineer, but he knows how to build. He's like, I did all the modifications in my house. And maybe he watches this video one day. He'll probably know I'm talking about him. But he was telling me how he's younger than me and he's funny, but he's like, I build everything in my house. I'd rather do it myself than pay a plumber and pay this. So he did his bathroom, like a new bathroom and knew this and knew that. I'm like, that's something, That's a lot. And he was like, yeah, I just kind of feel like I already know. The thing is that sometimes when I'm doing it, what I know doesn't play out in my hands how I visualize, so I make mistakes. But but then I just have to do it again and again and again and again until kind of like until it works out. So it was just beautiful what he said because I was like, exactly. Yeah, that is how it is. Like you just have to tap into it again and again and again. But there is a visual, there's a wisdom that knows that is like, oh, I know how to do that. I know how to do that. And it just has to like practice, 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 practice until it's like until the skill arrives in this body because maybe we have the skill from I don't know where and to align it into kind of bring it down into this body and actually practice it, it takes time. So artists, singers, people that write and channel things and they say, oh, I just created something and I had to let it be what it needed to be. And I love those conversations too because it's all about allowing whatever wants to come through to come through. And I'm sure those creatives, those artists, those writers that are now like doing great, amazing arts, they have a process for this tapping and tuning into, and they have probably a lot of like also perfectionism going on, like not perfectionism, but like a lot of mistakes and a lot of like self-critic that they have to deal with. But it's kind of like overcoming those things every time, overcoming them and learning to build a muscle to overcome that self-critic in that perfectionism, in those things that get in our ways. And those things that get in our way are part of life. It's funny because I have to create videos and there are days that all sorts of weird things happen for me not to create a video. But there's a thing inside of me that is like, I must do a video and I do not care what is going on. I am stronger. My body needs to align with me. because the body will also play out all sorts of things. And I'm like, I am not gonna take it. I'm not gonna take it. And that's when you sort of go against that thing that says, oh, when my body hurts, I must rest. No, not every time. Not every time. So this is important when we need to know how to read our body, because sometimes our body is just resisting as a part of a survival mechanism, as part of some resistance. Workshop is going to be all about upgrading the student, our student. It's going to be about upgrading our self-esteem and really knowing little hidden spots. We're going to go into hidden spots of our self-esteem. We're going to go into little hidden spots of what is behind our sabotage experiences that we have sometimes. The whole purpose is that you guys get a sense of how this feels, but it's not going to be as profound as an experience of a one-to-one experience, which I think is the most transformative. However, it's going to be upgrading anyways, because we're going to be touching topics that are upgrading. Everything we're going to be touching is going to be upgrading. We're going to be touching how to reprogram our mind in simple ways. We're going to be touching what's below a lot of things that we have, and we're going to be doing exercises and actually getting into those patterns that we might have. So we're going to be doing a few simple tools and then sharing them. And when we share and we talk as a group, there's also like a really empowered thing, because we're going to be sharing the energy and the tuning to this space. It's all about upgrading. There's nothing going to be there that's going to be there that it's not upgrading. So there's no energy that's going to be going down. It's going to be up, up. And whatever we detect, it's about eliminating it. And sometimes we eliminate a lot of these things by detecting it. Detecting what we have and sort of just breathing in and releasing it. So instead of muscle testing it, it's more about tapping into the subconscious in a different way. We're going to do a little bit of mind. So it's going to be using some principles of everything I've gathered, and we're going to be releasing patterns by our intention and breathing in and intending. A lot of emotional baggage we can release also with intention. We can release with our hand and going through the governing meridian, like the emotion code shows us. And we can also delete it by our own mental practice. So whatever we find in our patterns, in our mental patterns, in our way that we speak to ourselves, and we detect it. And once we really go into it and we really look at why we talk that way, where does it come from? Where do we get it from? And how do we use it? And when do we use it? And where is it leading us? And you see where it's leading you, you're not going to want to ever talk like that again. And it's already an activation to be like, okay, I'm not speaking like this anymore. So then besides that, we're also going to work on upgrading that conversation into a nourishing conversation, into something that is going to serve that upgraded student or wherever you want to go. So we're going to share where everybody's going to share, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go with this workshop? What is your intention for today? So every day that we work, it's going to be an intention. So today I want to work on this. Today I want to work on that. And we can also go general, like I want this, I'm going to try to participate in all the workshops, and I want to go here, and this is where I'm at, and this is what my issues are happening, are going, and I'm going to share, okay, well, we're working today on this. So then, boom, we work on that. So it's gonna be very interesting and also very on the flow. So there's a little structure to it that I will be creating on the go, but at the same time is very on the flow. I already have the tools and I've been pretty much building up what I'm gonna be doing in this course through my videos. It's been like nourishing that spirit and guiding me towards what I am gonna do. So the basic structure of my actual course that is a one-to-one course that I am planning to do with a combination, or I hope to do a combination of group work and one-to-one, because I feel like group work with thesis will be a lot more exciting than one-to-one. But there's some people that might want to just do one-to-one, and we can do that completely for sure. Just one-to-one and no group at all. So, and then for those that are doing that are doing workshop with me and want to actually try out some emotion code one-to-one, then you can, and you don't really want to do the course yet of thesis, you can always try out any of my other courses that I have. So the topics that I will be working on, that we will be working on in our workshops, is going to be upgrading our thoughts, upgrading the self-esteem, upgrading the student, upgrading our code of ethics. So we're going to go into our truth, our code of ethics. Just briefly, code of ethics, I think, goes really deep. And then and we are also going to work on what's behind our body aches. So this is all going to be like different workshops, and you have to sign up every time. And depending on how the groups keep going, I might eventually start charging and just keep the workshops going. So that's why it's going to be fun. And I might do one if I get engineers. I'm going to be doing one just for like engineer minds, upgrading the engineer minds, which is it's a mind that is very creative, and it's very multi, like it really can do a lot of multi tasks in a different level. And I think, and I don't know if everybody, I know for sure I do it, and I definitely have an engineer mind, even though I don't necessarily need to expand myself in the engineering, and upgrading the courage and the faith. Those are the topics. So I am excited. I'm seeing okay. Also, the topic of rhythm. That is a very important topic that I will be touching in here. Yep. Okay. So that's it. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in my workshop. Bye.